my name is Hunter. I work in the admissions office. I guess my name is would be a senior associate director. I also coach women's hockey, and I've been at Proctor now for 11 years, and I'm also a Proctor graduate. And tonight we're gonna kind of like access some of our students again, keep the series alive and going. And I appreciate everyone for signing in and tuning in tonight. And hopefully we'll get some good questions asked and just another opportunity to hear from our current students. This is being recorded, just so you know. And as I move through this intro, if questions come up, ultimately I want you all to put it into the chat. So we can kind of ask those questions as we move along after this intro, and I'll remind you about that again. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see, and get things started. Is this working? Do people see it? Okay. So we're going to be talking about afternoon programming at Proctor Academy. So far, you've had a few different sessions. Many of you may have already visited campus, which is great. But now we're going to kind of look beyond this big picture, and we're going to really focus in on what happens at Proctor in the afternoons. So essentially, like, best to start with the schedule, right? So, you know, we are in our academic day generally starting around 8 o'clock in the morning. And then afternoon programs and activities start right at 3:15. So this goes for basically all kids in school are signing up for some type of activity in the afternoons. We have 3 seasons, right? Fall, winter, spring. So kids are going to change their sport or activity as we move through the year. And one kind of clarification, a lot of schools want kids to be involved in sports, right? All the time. And Proctor looks at it a little different. We want you to be involved in really like performance credits, we call them, but a performance credit would be a sports team. It could be like mountain biking. It could be theater, anything that you're, really like working towards some type of competition or I guess performance, right? So the way we kind of work that out is when you're younger, you have those 2 performance credits. And as you get older, you have a little bit more choice. And as we move through the seasons, we actually have a pretty shortened class day in the winter with a longer winter term that allows our kids more time to be in the ice rink, to be on the basketball courts, and of course out on the ski hills. First thing to kind of talk about, I think, is team sports. So, you know, we're pretty fortunate to have some great facilities and to compete in the NESCAC. Or NEPSAC, not NESCAC. We have a couple turf fields. We've got a great field house. We've got hockey rink. And we're really working with our athletes, in those core team sports to compete at a really high level. And as you go through the admissions process, it's going to be important for you to reach out to us and let us know if you want to chat with a coach or learn more about a specific program. Because in order to play the sports at the level we do, there is a level of recruitment that does happen even at Proctor. The other side is we want to get to know you as a player too. So when you look at our team sports in the fall, it really is, field hockey, soccer. In the winter, these are kind of like your kind of core team sports. You've got like basketball and hockey, alpine skiing, those kind of sports, lacrosse, softball, baseball. But, we definitely want to get to know you as an athlete too. And we want you to be able to showcase yourself to us so that we kind of fully know where you're at and what you're looking for and what your goals are, going into a high school. The model at Proctor, though, isn't just team sports. And this is where things get really interesting, and it really kind of broadens who we are and the type of students that attend here. And, all of us who coach or are part of afternoon programming really thrive on this and encourage our kids to, step outside their comfort zone, try new things, but really take advantage of other things that are out there to do in the afternoon. So, we have our outdoor center. We've got mountain bike teams and rock climbing and kayaking and a lot of kind of more outdoor sports. We're fortunate enough to own and operate our own ski area. So kids are, able to train and practice right here on campus. And I think it just got gold medal status, I think, with USA Ski Federation, which is pretty awesome. It also includes, Nordic combine and ski jumping. We've got 2,500 acres of land, and our rock climbing team was just out doing some exercises on a couple of the cliffs back deep in the Proctor Woods. But you got close to like 17 miles of trails. Mountain biking's carved out new trail, and pretty exciting environment as well. But just kind of like some visuals, right? With skiing, outdoor sports, kids really just having fun. We've got, other programs as well, like Woods team, where kids are out there just, being lumberjacks, really just, little community service, but rolling their sleeves up and getting a little dirty in the process. And then we also incorporate music and theater, and a lot of other ways for kids to be creative and to fill that time in the afternoons and really do the things that they're mostly passionate about. And to kind of like close out with that, it's for us, afternoon programming is really to provide a place for everybody to land. So whether you're a varsity athlete, want to try out a new sport for the first time, branch out and, get outdoors or do some community service or be a part in the play or a musical, or really perform with music. It's all part of what we do, and really encouraged to get kids involved. Really a place where you can like work on your passions, right? And keep pursuing them, but also try something new, right? But I'm going to jump right into intros. So I'm going to let Helen go first. And as we move through these intros, definitely if you thought of any questions, start putting them in the chat. And then once they do the intros, we're just going to open it up and let it be casual, just like we have every other night.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm a senior here. I live here in town at Andover. I've participated in theater, music, and dance here at Proctor, and I've been here 4 years. So
awesome.
Is it me, Hunter?
Oh yeah, Conrad, you're up.
I'm sorry, I can't see the screen. Hi, I'm Conrad. I'm a third-year junior. I play soccer in the fall. I do Nordic skiing, which is pretty cool in the winter, and I play lacrosse in the spring. And I'm from Washington State.
Hi everyone. I'm Riley. I am a senior. This is my second year at Proctor. I'm from Eagle, Colorado, and I play varsity field hockey, varsity hockey, and varsity lacrosse.
Hi guys, I'm Turner. I live in Hopkinton, New Hampshire. I do alpine training in the fall, Eastern skiing in the winter, and I play varsity lacrosse in the spring. And I'm a sophomore.
Hello everyone, I'm Patrick. I'm from Northern California. I'm a 2-year sophomore. I play football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring.
All right, well, that was everyone, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of open it up to questions, and I might just start and jump right in. But for many of these families and prospective students, I think they want to know maybe a little bit more about your process, right? And maybe you guys could talk a little bit about, looking at Proctor, looking at, athletic programming or afternoon programming, arts, theater, all those things, and just like how that kind of fell into your process in selecting a school. And anyone can take it to start.
for me, I've lived in Andover my entire life, so Proctor is kind of a no-brainer for me. I've always been really excited to go because I've been coming and seeing the theater and seeing the shows here with friends. And so that was a big part in choosing to go here as opposed to a public school, because I've seen, and now that I've done it firsthand, the theater program is really incredible compared to some other stuff. And to be able to go from watching it to being in it is really, it's neat. So that was a big part of why I chose to come here.
I think a big reason that I came here is that Proctor has a lot of competitive sports. So you can play at a high level in a lot of different sports, which is kind of unique for a school to have.
I would say I kind of came here for the learning support and the one-on-one relationships with teachers, like calling them by their first names. You'd have get a lot of good one-on-ones and get a lot of more help from that. So that's probably what I would say I came here for.
Sorry, Riley, you go.
Okay, I'll go. I would say I came here just because living all the way in Colorado, I didn't have all the opportunities that I had here. I have my social life, my academic life, and my athletic life. So having all three of those opportunities all on campus is a great way to be a regular high school student and have all of those three.
Yeah, I came here really so I could get a high level of athletics while also getting high level of academics. I went to ski academy in middle school, and I wanted to be able to have a good high school experience socially and academically, and also being able to ski race and play lacrosse.
And so we just heard a lot of different types of answers, which I think speaks to Proctor a little bit. And maybe you guys can, like, from your perspective, shed a little light on, like, culturally how Proctor really is with our students and, like, their involvement in different sports. And, like, some kids are going to be more athletically minded, like team sports. Some are going to be more into arts and theater. But, like, how do you feel people are supported here? Kind of a loaded question, but I think you can handle it.
I think Proctor has a lot of different kind of communities inside of it. It could be your advisory, your dorm, if you're a boarder, and then your team. So you kind of can gravitate towards one of those or towards all of those. So you kind of find your people in a lot of different ways and find your group. And that's how the community is kind of built.
I would agree with Patrick. I would say that community is like kind of a big thing here at Proctor. I would say that people are very supportive and what you do, like obviously like your teachers and academics and your friends and like your activities, like you'll see everyone at your sports games, you'll see everyone supporting the arts, supporting theater. So everyone's always kind of there for you, and you see everyone like obviously around campus. So it's kind of just a great community here.
Yeah, I think you get such a variety of interests that people tend to kind of gravitate towards each other because everybody's different.
Yeah. And so, yeah, go ahead. Hannah. Sorry.
I just think they said that really well. I think that was everything I was gonna say. Like just the different groups and lives you lead at Proctor, advisory, dorm, all your different classes. You all just have like a group and other systems of support from adults.
One thing I really like about it is that you can do multiple things at once. Like you can play football, or you can play like a varsity sport while still participating in the arts and participating in stuff like that. So like in the other way around. And I think that, like say before, the community really helps with that because everyone's so supportive of everything. Like you can be that like jock who also does music and stuff. So, which is really, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pick on Riley. So Riley, like you kind of came in more like sport minded, but like maybe you can share about like some of your passions that you've developed just since being at Proctor and having access to more.
Yeah, of course. So I obviously came in looking to play sports here, but I think I kind of opened my mind because Proctor had a lot of opportunities, and a couple of classes that I like took, like I took ceramics, and this is my third term coming in, and I've just like kind of expanded my knowledge in it, and it's something I've never done before, and it's something that I like truly love. And there's an art show coming up, so I'm really excited to see everyone's pieces, show off my pieces. And also I am a really passionate writer, so I really like the writing classes that we have here. For example, journalism. We were able to write in the Proctor newspaper, so being able to like put my voice out there into the community was a really cool way to kind of like get involved with everything. Coming in like obviously as a junior, like not knowing everyone, but still being able to feel like you're part of the community.
Does anyone else want to share like anything kind of similar to that where you kind of discovered something new as well?
For me, my advisor works in like the metal sculpture class and in the forge. And I've never like even heard of like a forge before. I barely even knew what it was. And now this fall I'm taking his class, and you get to do some really cool stuff with metal and play with these huge fires and just like hammer on some steel all day and like create some stuff that like I'm creating some stuff like my mom's new house, and I think that's pretty cool that I can do that at Proctor.
And I'm gonna just kind of change gears a little bit here and just talk about like the overall schedule and kind of how you get through academics, how you have time for sport, and how it's all kind of balanced. Because for a lot of our kids coming from a distance, and some of you have experienced this, it's kind of nice to have it all in one place, right? But maybe share a little bit more about how you balance it all and how it all works at Proctor.
Well, we're fortunate enough, I guess, that we have kind of built-in study hall. So every night at 7:30, you go back to your dorms and you have 2 hours where you kind of have to do homework. And then if you need more help, you can start your homework before then or just keep going after. So there's kind of a built-in system for your work.
I would say probably adding on to Patrick, the support and the structure has really helped me become a better student. Just being able to know exactly what my schedule is. Obviously having like school during the day and then being able to like take like a brain break and go do like your afternoon activity and then like go socialize and then go like into your like structured study hall time. So and then get your homework done. Just having like those structured time periods of your schedule during the day has been like really helpful and supportive to me, especially to like be get all my academic schoolwork done.
I think the really interesting part about study hall is you can choose to go use that 2 hour time to go study in the library and be in more of a conducive learning environment, which is super nice. Get you out of like the dorm kind of situation, get you focused, and you can use that 2 hours really to your advantage.
And so Turner is part of the ski program at Proctor, and he has to leave early. So we've had a couple questions come in specifically about certain activities, and so like maybe just give you the stage, right, Turner, and like talk a little bit about like the ski program, how you manage your schedule, with homework, other activities, and all that, and maybe the different levels of skiing, right?
Yeah, so I do Eastern skiing in the winter. There's just for alpine skiing, there are 3 different levels you can choose to take. There's recreational skiing, which is basically free skiing, some freestyle, and then there's varsity, which is racing. And then Eastern is traveling farther and competing at a more competitive level. So in the winter, it's definitely a bit of a grind. It's hard to juggle skiing and academics and a social life. But I think once you get into a groove, it gets simpler. It also, I found that I've become more independent, and I tend to be more productive with my schoolwork for the time that I get to do that in the winter. So it's taught me some independence. But yeah, it's definitely doable, and I think with the support that Proctor gives you for schoolwork outside of classes is a really big help. And I found that that's pretty different from other boarding schools that don't provide that much help. Specifically, teachers will reach out if you're falling behind a little, or there's all extra help sessions you can go to. So it's pretty supportive in terms of schoolwork in the winter, at least.
Yeah, and a lot of what you're saying too is it will cross over, right? Like when you're in a smaller school community with teachers that are accessible, and you have, whether it's being involved in a musical, right, and a lot of your time is being taken up, teachers are willing to kind of jump into your time as well, not just like you catching their time. It really goes both ways, which is really kind of refreshing in a community like this that is moving at a fast pace and has a pretty good tick to it. And so there was a question about like rock climbing, how that really works, mountain biking, who you compete against. And again, just because Turner's leaving soon, I'm think I'm going to let him just like maybe answer one more question before he has to go. Yeah.
So you want me to just talk a little bit about the outdoor sports a little bit?
Mountain biking, and if you know a little bit about rock climbing,
Yeah,
you could take a stab at it. Yeah.
yeah. So mountain biking is it's a pretty large group of kids. It's a pretty big interest at Proctor. But we have an amazing trail system behind Proctor. My brother's on the mountain bike team, and he raves about it every single day. And then on the weekends and sometimes on the weekdays, the team will travel to bike somewhere else just to get a new flavor. Pretty consistently, they go to Highland, which is pretty cool. I know that's a pretty big hit. But for rock climbing, that's a pretty small group, but it's a pretty tight-knit group. Like that group is usually around campus hanging out with each other. And we have our own climbing gym. I've been in there a couple times. It's pretty awesome. And then they travel throughout the state to do different climbs. We have some places on campus, and then they also sometimes go up north to the White Mountains to do some climbing, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of the outdoor sports, it's really about exploring. It's about getting out and getting off campus, working around on campus as well at times. But kayaking will go explore rivers, learn how to roll in the Proctor Pond. They'll go down and surf waves. But a lot of those outdoor programs are really about just like adventure and getting kids out, having some experiences. And Turner, you probably have to go, so I do appreciate you being on with us. And I want to shift back to a question that happened earlier. And I think everyone on this panel has been where you guys are right now, looking at schools and trying to figure out what's going to be the best fit for you. And so there was a question about, I guess what you noticed about Proctor that, maybe was different than other schools. And I'll just kind of open that up to everyone.
I think Proctor is unique in a lot of ways, but having so many different kind of activities that you could do is like incredible. Like we have our really quite good academics, and then we have competitive sports, and then you can go to like really good art program. Like I'm building a canoe this winter. And I'm also playing basketball, and I'm also going to be taking hard classes. Like that's an opportunity that's not open to a lot of people because of the schools they go to, but at Proctor it is.
I would say probably something for me that spoke out for me was probably the off-campus programs. Just a little like background. We are obviously in a term system, so we do fall, winter, and spring. So each term you have a chance to go off campus for a term. For you can go to Costa Rica as a sophomore. You can go to Segovia, Spain, which I'm going next in the spring. Then you can go on Ocean Classroom, which you sail up and down the coast on a boat. You could go Mountain Classroom, and you can do European Classroom. So just to have kind of those opportunities to go off as a high school student really kind of stuck out to me, as well as just like Proctor's like overall like community and like support and well-being.
I can't say I really applied to any other schools when I was looking for like a high school. So Proctor's really fit the bill for what I was looking for in terms of like community values, academic like rigor, as on top of like well-functioning athletics and incredible arts department. And so I felt there wasn't really a need to look at any other schools. And look where we are now.
For me personally, this is kind of one of my only options. Happily, one of my only options, but I really love the fact that I can do a lot of things here, and I can do them with the support and supplies that I need. In a lot of public schools, especially in New Hampshire, the arts are definitely not paid as close attention to when it comes to extracurriculars, but here they're really taken seriously, and you're given the supplies and the support that you need to really flourish in those areas. And I'm very, very lucky to be able to do that. And so that was one of the things that drew me most to Proctor, other than living here. But yeah, definitely the arts and stuff like that. And just the fact that they're paid attention to and that people care about them here. So.
And Helen, I'm going to keep you in the spotlight. All right. So there was another question that followed up about what it was like transitioning into Proctor. And obviously you're not far away from home. You have the luxury of being a day student. But maybe like start with you, but we can go through the group and maybe talk a little bit about how that transition was, and maybe how it kind of related into like afternoon programming that you did, right? And the relationships that you formed and how quickly that kind of happened for you.
Yeah, so the transition for me was a little bit weird almost. I'm still friends with some of the people that I like went to middle school and elementary school just across the street with. So to kind of go from kindergarten to senior year of high school with the same person is definitely strange. Very heartwarming, but also strange. And just that kind of transition was a little bit rocky for me, mostly just because I had been going from living in this town, and like I'd hung out with some people and I ate in the dining hall every once in a while. Like I remember eating in the old dining hall before they did the renovations, and I was in like 4th grade. So it was just definitely a very weird switch, but positive at the same time. It's nice to look on Proctor with an outlet as a student, but as also like an Andover resident, I suppose, or like a Andover elementary middle school student as well. I also really liked how Proctor students go over to the elementary school all the time. And I remember when I was going there, I like loved it. I loved it when they came over there. There was so much fun having them. So yeah, that was kind of weird, but good at the same time. And then I've definitely formed some really long lasting friendships throughout the activities here. And I've kept the ones that I've had, which is really, really important to me, that I'm still friends with people I was friends with in like 3rd grade. So yeah.
For me, it was super interesting coming across the country to go to school, like social academic life, just completely away from home. And but it was a super smooth transition, even though I was super scared at first because just the community in the dorm, like those like the people you live with, you get to know them super quickly, make really good friends with them, meet people in your advisory, um, and like your advisor and like some of the senior members of the advisories like help you get accustomed to campus and like the sport you do. There's like these all these tons of things that just like welcomed me. That was a really good time, like after like things all settled down.
Anyone else want to try answer this one?
Yeah, it's about kind of our transition to Proctor.
Yeah, like, the transition and I think you just like relate it to your afternoon programming and the ways that you kind of plugged into community and how fast it happened for you.
All right. I think similar to Conrad and actually Riley coming kind of across the country to Proctor, it's definitely a big transition. And I came as a freshman, and that freshman fall, I was really lucky because we had football, and that's such a community-based kind of activity, and that becomes your family. So I really kind of made connections quickly through that, which really made kind of the rest of the year go by well because I knew these older kids, and I really liked the kids my age that did it, and I just had that community from that sport I did.
I would say probably I came in obviously as a repeat junior, so all the way from Colorado. So it was a little bit different for me. Obviously, coming in really like nervous, like I thought everyone like already like had their friends, like I was new. But coming in just I also got to go to field hockey preseason. So just being a part of that team was a really big step in like welcoming. Everyone was super welcoming, the coaching staff, like my dorm parents. So I made friends really quickly, which was so nice. And honestly, like everyone here makes you feel super welcome, even if like you've obviously never met them before. But I just felt super welcome coming in. It was hard being away from my family for a little bit, but kind of after a couple of days, you get into a groove, you find your friends, you play your sport or your activity, and you kind of just you get into the groove of things. So that kind of really helped my transition.
And so there's also a question about just the like general like diversity amongst students in the student body at Proctor, but also like we do have a lot of kids with different backgrounds, different interests, and how do you guys all really get along? And like, is there kind of a balance to it? And this is like the best part of these sessions, right? Because this is just like unscripted and coming from you guys, right? So like maybe talk a little bit about that and your crossover with other kids or whatever, like however you want to attack it. Yeah.
I think Proctor's definitely a very diverse place. And coming from kind of a smaller private school, I didn't see that, or I didn't experience that until I came to Proctor. And then I'm in the dorm living with guys who are very different from me, but it's all kind of, we all get connected from where we live or the sport we do, and we kind of maybe overlook those differences and don't even think about it. And it's just like that's my boy, but we're just kind of different. And yeah, I think try to answer that question.
I think kind of like coming off, like it kind of seems that you kind of just hang out with like your team or like your afternoon activity or just like your friend group. But honestly, Proctor is a very good place just to like in assembly in the dining hall in your advisory in your dorm, like you will meet everyone, you will know everyone, like you'll be friends with everyone, like everyone is just like, and obviously you're accepted for like who you are, and like that's just like how I feel obviously. But just being able to know everyone, and like that's what I kind of like about a small school coming from kind of a big public school, being able to come in and feel like you know everyone, feel like everyone's like your neighbor or your friend, and just being able to like have like a conversation with that person at lunch, like, and then next period you see like someone different. It's just like a really good way to get to know people.
Yeah, paying off of Patrick and Riley, there's like diversity and you get to meet a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, but I feel like the common thing is a lot of other people like just want to make those connections, like want to meet these new people. And so that really what drives like the community and like new students and just like the overall like groups on campus.
One thing I really love about Proctor is all the affinity groups that are around campus. Like I personally am part of the Alliance and then the Jewish affinity group. So that's really nice to have those spaces that I can go to. And then there's other ones. There's like Asian affinity group and like tons of other ones. And even if there isn't one that's particular to you that reaches out to you, you can start one, which is amazing. So you have that kind of control over that. And then there's just a lot of learning experiences that go into being a student at Proctor, which is really helpful. Yeah, so that's something that I really like about it.
And I just love hearing from you guys. It's kind of special for me because I graduated from Proctor 21 years ago, and we were a little smaller school, but I don't know, like who Proctor was then still exists now. And it's that level of comfort in what we offer, through the arts, through afternoon programming, and not just limiting ourselves to be a certain type of school. And now fast forward, right, 21 years, we've also had incredible support, and you guys get some pretty cool facilities that I didn't have when I was at Proctor. But it's really across the board in all the things that we do. But maybe you guys can talk a little bit about some of the spaces or some of like the facilities that you get to use, right, in your Proctor experience, and maybe just highlight a few places that you think are pretty cool.
I'll start because I think our field house is incredible. I literally think we have the best basketball gym in New England, and I'm not just saying that because I go to Proctor. And then so yeah, our field house is really nice. Our weight room is really, really good. We have an excellent hockey rink. It was probably some of my favorites. Yeah.
I would just say that whole corner of campus is crazy. We've got amazing trainers with great facilities in there, taking an ice bath, getting wrapped, getting assessed for an injury, on top of super nice weight room, a turf strip with tons of amenities, as well as the basketball court, the batting cage, new locker rooms, a pin system with like that does your laundry from like your athletic day, as well as the locker rooms and the hockey rink that's up and running right now. And on top of that, we've got the outdoor center, bike, ski storage, the climbing gym, all that stuff. It's just super cool to have on this campus.
I personally kind of live on the other side of campus. I spend a lot of my time either in the music studio or in the art studio or in the theater. That's all kind of clustered together. I like spend almost too much of my time in the music studio because you kind of have access to everything you need there, which goes for kind of everything. Like art, athletics, like the turf strip, weight room. If you want to do something, you have the ability to do something, which is amazing. So I spend like a lot of my time over there.
I think all of them kind of covered all of our facilities. I love like all of them. Spent a lot of time on the turf. Obviously, our dorms are very nice as well. I don't think anyone said that. I like my dorm. Yeah, kind of the turf, the locker room, the dining hall. it's always good. But yeah, all of our facilities and buildings are great.
And I just like kind of a detailed question, but many of our kids looking at Proctor on this chat are also probably thinking about that upper level, right? Whether it's a sport or being involved in, a musical or music, right? But maybe you guys can talk a little bit about the support you get from coaches and the college process, and like maybe some things that you're kind of working towards too, some of your goals, and kind of how Proctor helps you along, maybe.
For me, one thing that's really helping me is off-campus programs. So I'm actually applying to a school in Paris right now. It's my number one, and I'm going on Euro in the spring. So that's kind of like a bit of a trial of what college would be like if I went over there. So that's very helpful to have. Like, it's incredible to be able to just like test out living in Europe. So that's really been helpful. And then obviously the people that I've done, like my director from theater, she's writing my college recommendations. Been with her all 4 years. Like, I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. The connections that you make with people like that, I think, are really special. Because she's been such a great support and help for me. And same with like most of my teachers. It's just one thing I love is they're always there to help you.
I know I play varsity soccer, and a huge thing about Proctor is we record all of our competitive athletic events, football games, lacrosse games, hockey games, soccer games, and then give that film to the students so they can use to send to coaches, make film for whatever college or where they're going to put like their highlight tape to put themselves out there. As well as coaches will talk to colleges for you and just get that conversation started, which is cool. And I think that really doesn't happen a lot of other places.
I agree. I'm kind of in like the middle of like the college like recruiting process. And I think that all of our coaches and even like all of our teachers here and our college counselors are really good support system, especially if you feel like you're in the beginning. I was kind of like scared because I kind of felt like I was alone, but you're not. Like, you have a huge support system. You have all your coaches, even if like you have coaches that you're not even trying to go, that coach for the sport you're not even trying to go for, they still support you. Like, you have all, like what Conrad is saying, like all the film, all the college counselors. It's just it's a huge support system. So everyone's there for you.
I don't have much to add to that. I think they covered it all, and I'm still a sophomore, so I got some time to think about that stuff.
Yeah, you do. And then also, like, each coach is a little different at Proctor, right? And I think different sports are played at different levels, different expectations, but deep down there is this like culture that exists in this school about like getting the best out of our student athletes, and or like in the plays and in the theater, and I think that comes in a lot of different ways. But maybe you guys can talk about like your experience on teams and the way that you're coached, the way that you're or not even just on teams but activities too, but and how that kind of like reflects out to, I don't know, like how you present yourself right on a field, in a musical, and really support each other, but also be a good opponent, right? But maybe talk a little bit more about that team culture.
I think Proctor's not always a super traditional place. Like, our classes and stuff aren't always very normal, but then I think our football team is very traditional. Like, so it's kind of cool to have that, like, coming from, can't really relate to what other schools do in the classroom, but then go to practice, I guess, footballs. And it's like, that's kind of a universal thing, taken very seriously. And yeah, I think that's kind of what drives that community, is the seriousness sports are taken, or at least varsity sports are. So you're kind of surrounded by people who are similar to you and want to take that seriously and do take it seriously.
I think something really special about Proctor is that your coaches are also like, they can be teachers, like Hunter's and or an admissions officer, like Hunter's my hockey coach and like my admissions officer, kind of, I don't know what you're called, but and like Callie, like my math teacher, she's also my lacrosse coach. Kate is my ceramics teacher, she's my field hockey coach. So kind of like getting to know them and not like the sports like on the field or on the ice is just a really good way to like build trust with that person. And even like and then you see them in the dining hall, you see them in advisory, some are like your dorm parents, just like being able to see them on that other level is just like builds a sense of like family and like trust and like what you kind of look for in an actual like person. So that's something that I really love about my coaches.
Another thing that our coaches focus on that I definitely appreciate, like obviously they're coaching to win and compete at the very high level, but they're also like looking for that like individual growth and just like the bettering of like both like in the sport, off the sport, and just generally as a human. So I think that's pretty cool.
I really like the bonds that you create with your coaches and instructors and stuff like that. Like I mentioned it before, that the director for theater's been by my side all 4 years, but also I did dance like my sophomore and junior year, and the woman who coached it, she doesn't coach it anymore, teach it at Proctor anymore, but like I still talk to her and I still ask her for advice. She was like such a role model for me. So I really love how like coaches and teachers can become that like a huge part of your Proctor experience and a huge part of like how you go about life in general. So
Yeah, I really appreciate all your comments and perspective, and I know our families do as well. But maybe like you guys could end just sharing a story about, you know, some memorable moment at Proctor through like programming that was pretty cool. I don't know. You get like maybe each one of you can share something. Um, yeah.
I know for me, it's my very good friend Alicia Berry. She was actually the first Proctor face I've ever seen. I had my initial Zoom with her. She's at the window right now. Um, and she was like the first face I saw, and then she visited me like when I arrived before orientation, got to meet her in person, and then she was my soccer coach that fall. And I got to spend a lot of time with her, and now she's just a great face to say hi to and talk to just around campus.
I think one of my best Proctor memories is probably from the football team beating St. Paul's 2 years in a row. That was kind of a big, two big wins that hadn't happened in a while, and it really kind of drew us even closer together as a team. And I think I'll look back on those for a long time and remember that.
I think for me, I've had so many favorite memories at Proctor, but one that was really kind of hectic was this fall. I'm doing band and recording right now, so we're doing covers and stuff like that for performance. And I don't play guitar. I'm not a guitarist. I have my own instruments that I play, but we had our guitarist who had to drop out, who couldn't be in it. So I kind of had to take that over, and I was the one who had to learn it. And I was kind of like terrified at first because you have to perform an instrument you've never played before in front of a bunch of people. Still a little bit terrified, but I have those support systems within the group that I'm playing with and the person who's teaching me. And it's just been really easy and really amazing to be able to learn stuff in such a short amount of time and like recover from a setback and be able to learn from it and grow from it and produce something really amazing out of it.
I think one of my memories of Proctor, I've been here for 2 years, so obviously have a lot, but I think I coming all the way from Colorado and coming here for ice hockey, I randomly signed up for field hockey and had no idea, never held a stick before. Colorado doesn't have field hockey, so didn't know what that was. And so just coming into preseason, not knowing anything, and just getting like kind of the welcoming support from every single one of those varsity players, every like all the coaches, everyone around me, just made me like feel so happy and so welcome. And I ended up somehow making varsity, and field hockey is like one of my favorite things to do here. So that was just kind of a little random thing that happened to me, but I'm so glad it did.
This was great. So we'll end a little bit early. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And just remember, like, as you go through this process, we want to expose Proctor to you. So we want you to dive deep, and, anytime you visit, or if you want to make connections after you visited, with ski coaches, or, athletic programming heads, or theater directors, or music directors, we want to make those connections. So don't hesitate to reach out. But we really appreciate you joining us for yet another evening event. And thank you, students, for taking your time. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Thanks.